Hi, this is Gina at Positivity Past 50. Welcome back to my channel. Today's video, I would like to add into my travel tips lineup of videos, tips on how you can feel fresh when arriving at your destination. And so as a teacher traveler, I'm on a budget, and when I travel overseas, it's usually overnight, and we arrive at our destination sometime around 7, 7:30, 8, 8:30, 9, and you get right into your traveling. You go right to your next destination because most likely you cannot check into your hotel. And so you want to feel your best. So in this video, I'd like to share you what I've discovered over the years of flying about 7 or 8 times to Europe and what I do to help me feel my best. So my first part is what to do maybe pre-flight, the day before you go and that morning. First of all, you think about your outfit. You make sure that you're wearing breathable fabrics, soft fabrics, fabrics without the waistband that you don't want hurting your stomach while you're in flight. Think about what you want to wear, make sure it's very comfortable. Think about some soft socks, and then what kind of shoes you're going to wear. Another thing you need to think about is maybe not eating some salty foods before you go ahead and fly. In the cabin pressure of the air, it tends to be dry, and so it leads towards dehydration. Salty foods tend to leave you a little bit more dehydrated. So maybe not lay off the salty foods the day before and the morning of, and start drinking your water. You want to try to flush some of that salt out to make your flight more comfortable. That is one of my first things that I think about when I'm flying. One thing that you can pack into your bag to help you and get this ready ahead of time before you go in through TSA is maybe a packable water bottle. I bought a pack of 2 of these for myself and my husband. When I'm not using it, it does not take up much space, and you cannot take a water bottle through TSA that you bring from home. You can purchase a water bottle at the stores at the airport, but this one is handy because it has an elastic band and is expandable. It also has a straw. I used this in Italy and it worked very well. Also, it was very handy in the hotel room because I could put some ice and have some ice water at the bedside table. So I really actually used this a lot during my trip at the hotel. The first few days in Rome, I tried to carry it around. I wound up not finding as many water fountains as I thought I would. So I stopped carrying it around while traveling, and I just bought things at the store. But this little water bottle has been helpful in the hotel rooms. So I enjoyed this, but this would be a great addition to take. It folds up, wrap it around. There you go. This can help you in your flight to avoid that dehydration that can make you feel less comfortable. Another thing about the dry cabin air, I have chronic dry eye. I've been diagnosed with that, and so I constantly battle that in Tennessee as it is, but it is particularly bad on an airplane, and so I always make sure I have some type of eye drops, and then I also am careful which one I pick. This one happens to be Hydrating Comfort. It's not really for the red eye that you might get where your eyes are just turning real red and irritable. This is more for lubricating. You also might want to think about some eye doctors, most eye doctors don't want you using the multi-use bottles like this. They've never bothered me. I've never gotten an eye infection, but the doctors don't like this. They like the individual ones, but typically those burn my eyes, so I can't really carry those on a plane. And so I take my Visine Hydrating Comfort eye drops with me because you are going to feel a little more dehydrated on the plane and a little drier. The next tip is mainly for the ladies. One way I make sure I feel fresh before I'm boarding the plane is I like to wear a panty liner. Sorry guys, if you're listening to this, it may be a little embarrassing for you. Now I'm 56, so I'm postmenopausal. I do not have a cycle. However, I bring 2 of these at least for the flight over, and I have 2 more for the flight back so that I feel fresh, because I will bring a change of clothes. I'll talk about that in a little bit, but I don't want to change everything. And so this is one way that I stay fresh. This has actually been my favorite tip because I do want to be my best, and this is one way I can do that. Another tip, if you don't mind where your seat is, the last trip that I took, I went to Amsterdam and I went with a friend of mine and we both wanted the aisle seat. That way I was able to stand up when I wanted to without disrupting my partners that are in the seat with me, near me. And so if you don't mind, an aisle seat sometimes can be your best seat. However, if you need the window seat, or if I'm with my husband, I'm usually in the middle seat, I still feel like I can stand up. However, have you ever seen the videos where you can do your movements with your feet? There was one that I used from Travel Advisor, Travel Tips by Laurie. She talked about how you do your alphabet with your feet, and let me show you what that looks like. It's important to get some movement in while you are sitting so long in the plane. So you can do your capital letters or your lowercase letters. The reason they pick letters versus numbers is because you at least have to do 26 letters. And it keeps you pretty still when you're trying to concentrate. Gotta cross my F. There's my F. Like that. Well, you get the point. You just want to be able to get some movement so you are not stiff when you're ready to get up. Some more advice that I've gotten over the years is not to drink fizzy drinks, and I am a Diet Mountain Dew fan. I'm also a Coke Zero fan. I almost always have a soda with me, but apparently the fizziness of the soda leads to bloating, gassy feelings that may make you feel uncomfortable. Another thing is apparently they're a diuretic, which leads to that dehydration. It is not as good as water would be. So don't forget, if you don't have a bottle, ask for an extra cup of water from the stewardess when they have a moment and when you can't ask them, so that you can keep sipping on water so that you are not dehydrating. So this is kind of like when the flight is going, try to remember to sip some water so that you are not getting dehydrated and feeling very uncomfortable with bloating as if you're drinking a Coke Zero or a Diet Mountain Dew, which are my favorites. And so maybe save that until you get to your destination. Of course, don't forget to put your lotion handy and keep a lip balm. If you're like me, my lips get so dry and chapped anytime. I keep it on my badge at school. I have in my desk at school. It's within reach of my dry erase markers at school. It's in my car. I can't go anywhere without some type of lip balm. So keep that handy in a pocket that you can quickly get to, so that you have these two things available to you almost at any time that you need them. If you're like me, I really do not like dry hands, and I really can't stand chapped lips. So let's talk about after the meal has been served and you're finished with that. Did you get anything on you? Don't forget to bring Shout wipe and goes like these, or your Tide pen. Don't forget to pack that up front or in your pouch, so that should you make a mistake, get something on you, have a little accident, you can take care of that, and so you can still feel your best when you get to your destination. And then what if you're feeling stressed on the plane? Have you had the breathing exercise? I use this on the way to work. Of course, I'm usually driving, and so I'm not shutting my eyes on this. Here's a breathing exercise that I do. It's the box method, to where you think of a rectangle box, and so you have your rectangle, you're going around your box, and so you breathe in as you go across, you're holding your breath as you go across, hold it, breathe out as you go across your box, hold it, and repeat. So if you're feeling a little stressed, maybe that's before the meal, maybe that's at takeoff, maybe that's at any time that you feel just a little bit uncomfortable, don't forget to do some breathing exercises. That's one method I use, and I use it mainly going to work so I can ground myself. I do not close my eyes, like I said, because I'm usually driving. So I breathe in, hold, breathe out, hold, breathe in, and continue on until you feel a little more grounded. That's one way that you can help yourself feel a little more put together, a little bit more ready for your destination. And for me, it would be kind of when I'm going into that evening time of the flight going overseas. So the dinner has been served, you have grounded yourself a little bit, you feel like you're ready to kind of snuggle in that chair. And remember, it's economy, so you are definitely in a little box. And have you ever thought about bringing a different pair of shoes? I have brought this once because I usually wear whatever destination shoes I have on. For example, headed to St. John's in a few weeks at Christmas time. We're going to St. John's for the first time, never been there. And so it's about a 5-hour flight, but I'm bringing hiking shoes because we're going to be going to the beach a lot and then hiking. And so I have my packing cube. It would be on the inside, the bigger part of my backpack. No one thinks it's polite to take off your shoes and be sock-footed on an airplane. I have read many articles about people and other people complaining about them, and it usually winds up on TikTok or Instagram where you get videoed with your shoes off and then somebody's feeling grossed out by you. So I have in here my foldable slippers. Now these have a sole on them, so it's more like a shoe. And of course I got these inexpensively off Amazon, like a terry cloth lining, but it does have a rubber sole. I keep my socks on, but I'll be taking off my hiking shoes so that I can be comfortable, quickly slipping these on so that I am not just in my sock feet. So this is something you might think about because they are foldable like this. However, I usually have enough room to kind of stack them and put them inside my packing cube. And that way my shoes are not touching anything else. Zip it back up. And then they're not touching, everything stays clean, and you had your feet comfortable through the flight. And then you can also use them at your destination. So I want house shoes. I could use my flip-flops, but these are nice and soft. So this is something you could think about if your feet need a relief. So this has been very handy. It really worked on the last flight. This is something I meant to say about this. If you don't have like packing cubes, I have saved these little bags from just Amazon purchases. I've even used Kroger bags. I use Kroger bags from other shoes. If I'm bringing my hiking shoes plus another pair, maybe some sandals, I've even used Kroger bags. Sometimes you get a shirt from Amazon and a bag like this. It's cheaper than buying these. I just happened to buy these packing cubes for a different trip, and so I have a lot of extras of these. But I kept these just from Amazon. I think this one came from Shein. Very lightweight, takes up hardly any space, and does the trick. Another way you can feel fresh after the dinner has been served is to bring some Wisp with you. I don't bring the whole package. I bring just a few in a baggie. And I do have a whole gadgets video I can show you if you would like to tune in. I've got a gadgets video that I made with a lot of some other gadgets I use around my flight time. If you've not seen the Wisps, now this is when you go to the bathroom. Don't do this in your seat. Also considered rude and gross, and you might wind up on TikTok. It looks like this. It's got a toothpick for your teeth, and it has the preloaded toothpaste so that you don't have to unpack everything that you might already have in your bag. Handy right there. It gives your mouth a fresh feeling, and then you're getting closer to that relaxing time where hopefully you can go to sleep. And so once you've brushed your teeth, maybe you've wiped your face. I bring face wipes. That's another thing I bring, is I will bring in a separate baggie the disposable face wipes. I take about 6 or 7 and put them in my bag, a different bag from this toothbrush. And then I go to the bathroom, kind of wash my face down, put some moisturizer on, use the restroom one more time, and then I'm winding down, ready to go to sleep. And then, did you bring a mask? This is your basic mask. This came with my foot sling. If it's a long flight, I bring my foot sling. Also in the gadgets video that I mentioned earlier. I don't use this one, but I just kept it just in case maybe my daughter might need one. I try not to throw things like that away. I have, like I said in that other video, I kind of explained this more, but the face mask that I brought most of my trips is the one that anchors to the back of the seat. This anchors to my seat rest, my headrest back here, and then it has the eye mask, Velcro, strong Velcro, that will anchor my head so my head does not drop. So I've got my eye mask. I have my AirPods for noise canceling. I have stopped taking melatonin. That does not work for me, but that may work for you to help you relax. It has messed up with my mind. I actually thought I was overdosing. I was taking it daily, up to 30 milligrams, and eventually the brain fog got to be so much, I had to stop. And so I do not bring anything else to sleep. It has made me scared of taking some things like that because of what I was doing to myself. So if I can't go to sleep, then I can't go to sleep, because I'm not going to take anything, mainly because I was overdosing myself. So I have my noise canceling AirPods, my eye mask. I've already brushed my teeth. I've already refreshed my face. One thing that I would like to buy in the future is the hydrating mist, but I need it in the travel size. I don't have that currently, but I'm interested in having that. So a little face mist so that you feel ready to go into that relaxing part of the flight where they dim the lights and you're done watching your movie and you're ready to relax. And also, if you've not seen these are called Super Fresh Shower Wipes. I mentioned these in that gadgets video as well. This is an all body wipe. Everything can get wiped down. You start with your face, you work on the other parts down to the interesting parts. And so you have your shower wipes that can give you that full freshness that you might want before you get off the plane. Let's talk about arrival. When you get to your destination, you might want to think just beyond the basic deodorant. And now you know about the Wisps. So what else can you do to help yourself feel fresh? Have you changed your liner? I know I have. I'll be changing it again. I also typically bring a change of clothes. For example, when we go to St. John's in Tennessee, currently it's hitting around 15 to 20 degrees. So I'll have my coat. I'll also have on a different type of clothes. First of all, they're going to be soft. There's no waistband that's tight, that kind of thing. But however, when I land, it's going to be 80 degrees. So I'll probably be bringing a change of clothes, such as a pair of shorts, and then I can put on my sandals, or I can still put my hiking shoes back on. Either way, I just know that when I'm arriving, it's going to be a great temperature of like 80 degrees versus what I have here. Yesterday we woke up and it was 11 degrees. So I'm definitely bringing a change of clothes. So I've got my deodorant. I've got my great size travel hairbrush. So go to the restroom, use your Wisp again, brush out your hair. I have my travel hairspray to kind of touch that up. I've got my makeup to reapply because I am going to wear makeup. And then I get my water bottle back out. And hopefully this is about an hour before we land so that I'm not disturbing the airline attendants. They have so much to do already. I want to get as much water as they'll allow me to have. If I could walk back to the back, a lot of times they're very helpful. And I ask, can I get some water from my water bottle? They fill it up. And then I will drink one of these. This is a drip drop. It is electrolytes. My husband relies on them constantly through the summer to give himself some energy for being outside in the heat. This is a great addition for when you're feeling kind of drained. You get those electrolytes back in your body, kind of perks you up. So I'll start drinking this about an hour before we land in my water bottle. Or if you don't want the water from the airline, the plane, because I know it's some type of tank water, maybe pre-purchase a bottle of water at the airport that you save for the next morning so that you can put your bottled water in this water or put this in that bottled water, either way. But electrolytes really help you feel a little more refreshed. So I hope these tips have helped you. That's kind of quite a bit that I do, but I also have realized that it makes me feel more awake, more fresh, more ready to go. It's like you feel put together, and it makes me just feel my best. So this is Gina at Positivity Past 50. I hope these tips have helped you. I hope I was not too confusing. If not, drop me a comment. I will explain anything again. I'm a beginner YouTube, so I'm still learning how to get my groove in and explain the things that I've learned and that I want to share with you. So if you like this, it helped any, if you would leave a comment, please subscribe if you're willing to, if you're generous enough to do that. I appreciate you so much. And so I'll see you next time.